Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me see if I can see everything here. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Job Search 101, which is part of our Get That Job webinar series. My name is Jordan Neal, and I am the career librarian here at the Champaign Public Library, so thank you all for joining us. Before I introduce our speaker, I wanted to mention some library information that we will reiterate at the end of the webinar, as well as some webinar details. So as you may know or have heard, the library is now open to the public with some modifications to the services that we offer. I invite you to visit our website, champaign.org, for more information. We are now available to answer your questions in person and virtually. You can chat with us through our website just by visiting the homepage. You could email us at librarian@champaign.org. We're still offering our Book a Librarian service virtually if you need any help at home. To request a session, visit champaign.org/bookalibrarian to fill out a request form. We're also still offering our curbside service if you wanted to pick up any library items, or you can now come into the library to pick up those items, whichever you prefer. Again, visit our website, champaign.org/curbside specifically for more information. And as always, our e-library is always open, where you can enjoy ebooks, movies, and more using your Champaign Public Library card, or you can sign up for a virtual library card through our website for instant access. Finally, I would like to briefly go over a few features available to you that might help during this particular webinar. Depending on your computer or device, if you take a look at your Zoom window, you can hopefully see audio settings at the bottom left of the screen. You can adjust your audio settings, like changing your speaker by clicking or tapping on the upward arrow next to your speaker. Moving to the center bottom of your screen, you will see a chat and raised hand option. Clicking on the chat will open or close a chat box on the right side of your Zoom window, or sometimes it displays on the middle of your screen, and you can drag it around, again, depending on your computer or device. We invite you to use the chat to ask questions or leave comments for us, and our presenter will try to answer them throughout the presentation. I will try to relay them to her as we see them. You also have the option to raise hand to receive assistance, say if you have any technical difficulties, or you'd like to speak and ask a question, so we can unmute you if you prefer not to type in the chat. Once again, our presenter will answer questions throughout the presentation. So without further delay, I will turn it over to our presenter, my wonderful colleague, Cat Purcell. Besides helping with career services here at the Champaign Public Library, Cat brings a wealth of experience from Tampa, Florida public libraries, including career and technology services. I'm so glad she's joined us today. So with that, Cat, I will turn it over to you.
Great, thank you so much. All right, so I would like to welcome you all. My name is Cat Purcell, and I have a varying degree of information on how to job search because I myself have been in that situation a lot. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see my slideshow. And we can grab some of my information there. If you need it, feel free to shoot me an email anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as you can for job-related questions, library questions in general, or a resume review. I do those as well. Oh, before we really get started, I want to get into the agenda. Today we're going to go over searching for jobs, applying for jobs, employment websites, and then expectations, considerations, and the next steps while you're waiting to hear back from those jobs. I want to make this as collaborative as possible. So if you see that chat box, I encourage you to go ahead and open it, because I would like to ask you to please let me know, what are your expectations from this webinar? If you open the chat box, you'll see there's a section there where you can choose who it goes to, and if you want to be anonymous, you can select just to panelists, and that way only me and Jordan are going to be able to see your responses, or you could choose all panelists and attendees and everybody can see your response. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time, so feel free to go ahead and answer the question, what do you expect to get out of this webinar today? And hopefully you guys are taking care of yourselves out there while we're doing this webinar, especially on this rainy night. All right, haven't gotten any answers yet. Oh, here we go. Here's one. So we're looking into how to apply to jobs, self-employed. So yeah, that's a really good thing, and that's something that has changed a lot, especially over the pandemic. So we're definitely going to be going into that today. How to get the interview? That's also a really good question. Information on researching how to apply to jobs and what jobs require. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Places aren't always clear about that. Okay, I'm going to keep those thoughts in mind. Standing out from other applicants, also a really good thing. Something I think probably everybody wants to know how to do to make that connection when you apply to jobs. I'm going to keep those in mind while I go ahead. If you have some questions in the middle, feel free to go ahead and put them in. I like to roll with it. So if you have questions, just jump right in and I'll answer them as I see them. So right off the bat, where to look for jobs. Used to be primarily just in-person networking and online. Of course, now as we're in the middle of a pandemic and being encouraged to be socially distanced, online is kind of the only option right now. So that's what we're going to concentrate on tonight, how to look for jobs online. A big portion of it is on that tonight. But before we even get into applying to jobs online, I would like you guys to try and keep these things in mind before you send that application out. Take a look at your resume, make sure it's up to date. One of the biggest tips I like to tell people, and one that I do myself, is I always keep a resume on my desktop, like right there at the very top. And anytime I do something, I add it to it. So I have like what I like to call a master resume. Anytime I'm in an art show, anytime I do a presentation, anytime I take a course online or go to a convention that applies to my job, I put it in the date and put it under one of the headings of my resume. And so my actual like resume is several pages long, and I don't send that out to people, but that gives me a currently updated list of things I can do, and I can pull from it whatever applies to put directly into the resume I end up applying with. So then the next thing, take a look at your online applications and profiles. So if you're on websites like Indeed or LinkedIn, take a look at what your page looks like and see what is accurate, see what needs to be updated, and double check that that looks appropriate for when you apply to those jobs, because job hunters will be looking at them. So another thing to check out before you begin searching for a job is a cover letter template. Lots of different sites have them now. Right off the bat, Microsoft Word does. When you open Word, you have an option on your display that has like a blank document and then other templates. So if you click on the heading, resume, or career field, I can't remember exactly what it is, but you'll see that there's templates for cover letters and you can get a resume to match. Google has one in the Google Drive, but there are also websites that are tailored specifically just to that. Some of them cost money, so I'm not going to go into them, but check out some cover letter templates. And then letters of recommendation, make sure you've got some people on standby in your personal and professional life that you can go to and say, hey, would you give me a good recommendation? And then have a list. I know that when I've been searching for a job myself, I tend to get really overexcited about it and want to apply to everything that I possibly can just to keep all my windows open. And then all of a sudden I'm getting calls and I can't keep straight which one it is or what I have applied to or where in the process I am. So I definitely recommend keeping a list. We have one that I've made for the library that we could just email to you if you're interested in it, where it's got a simple, career list where it's, some of the headings are job site, their contact information, what the position was you applied for, and whether you've actually sent the application in or not or heard back from them. Just a simple list like that can help you keep it straight to make sure you're on the right track. So once you've got those things in line, I'm going to go into specifically job searching with COVID-19. So right now, we've got the May unemployment rate in Illinois, which is the last data I could find on it, was 20%. 20.7% in Champaign were unemployed, or in Illinois, and in Champaign we're at a 10.9% unemployment. Last year at this time it was 3.9%, so it's a huge difference. So definitely this is where Marissa's question about how to make your application stand out is really going to come into play, because a lot of people are looking for jobs right now. Right off the bat, also make sure that you filed for unemployment if you are currently unemployed. Go to the IDES website. The sooner you can apply for those benefits, the better. Those that will come in, and that will definitely help you in your job search. They've got their own features that they can do to help you for the job search too, but those benefits are going to help you out. This is also a great time to gather information about how a company has treated their employees. So maybe you were in kind of a rough boat before the pandemic and you've left that place and you want to make sure that you are going to be treated better in the next job. So this is a great time to do some research on a company before you apply to them to see how are they treating their employees during a pandemic. So several of the sites I'm going to mention have specific COVID articles to help, and I definitely encourage you to go to those websites and look at those. They're right on the splash page for most of them right now, like Monster or Indeed. So they've got some really good articles that could help you out too. Another thing to help you stand out specifically is retooling your resume. Make sure it looks up to date. Check a template that looks good for you. Like I recommended those templates, and they're great because you can just copy and paste information in. If you need help with that, me and Jordan are always here. Another thing to do is really make an exciting cover letter, and the biggest thing I can do for that is just give you the advice to make that cover letter simple. It doesn't have to be a whole page. 3 or 4 paragraphs is fine. Just kind of start out introducing yourself, name some things you've done in the past jobs you've had, and say what you could do for their company. That's really all you need in a cover letter. I know they can be overwhelming, but once you have those 3 things down, you got it. That's all a cover letter needs to be. We also offer a site called Job Now, and they will review your resume and cover letter for you. If you didn't feel like you wanted to go to us, just go to champaign.org and check out Job Now. Another thing to do is buff up your LinkedIn Learning profile, or specifically just LinkedIn. So you may not know that the library offers LinkedIn Learning, which is a subset of LinkedIn. If you don't know what LinkedIn is, it's kind of like a professional Facebook. And so it's just kind of got your online resume. It's a good place to connect with people, and you can view some tutorials through Champaign to help you do that job search. It's kind of like an extended version of what you're seeing right now in terms of webinars that you can just watch on your own time anytime you're able to pull that up. Another thing to do is practice virtual interviews. So Jordan and I are doing that right now too. If the interview is the place that you're worried about, and maybe you get a little nervous talking to people you don't know, particularly when it's for a job that you really want, practice with us. We'll give you some questions and we'll let you know and give you some feedback. And we can do those virtually over Zoom. So the next thing to do is to know why you're searching for a job. Right now, for a lot of people, that's just kind of like, I need to pay my bills, and that's okay. If that's all it is right now to get you through to the next actual career, get there, and that's okay. Just it's good to know why you're looking for one, and maybe there are some more requirements you have out there. What is your desired career field? What fields are you willing to settle for, or what are you not willing to settle for? What's your desired salary range or hourly range? What can you accept, and what do you actually need to live on? Are you willing to commute for employment? Maybe you're willing to totally relocate. How far are you willing to go for that? And benefits. What benefits do they offer? Those are all really questions to know the answer for right now, because when you start searching online, you might get a fair amount of recruiters, and it's going to be some of the first things they ask you before you even get to that resume submission or that interview. So another thing to keep in mind is, what's your end goal with this job? Short term versus long term? Is this just to pay bills and fill your financial obligations? Or is this your next step, your next step to the dream job? Is this going to be using the skills that you have, or are you going to try and get some more skills from this job? Is this going to encourage you to grow? Is it going to match your values? What values are kind of the limit for you when it comes to this? I think I'm going to do another question now, so get ready to pull your chat up. I was originally going to use the polls feature, but that makes you use specific programmed answers, and I don't particularly prefer that because I want you guys to tell me what you think, and they're not necessarily right or wrong answers, so I didn't want to make that an option. So the next job question I have is, which job search website should I use? Which one do you think of first when you're going to search online for a job? What's the first website that comes to mind? I'll give you guys some time here to put that question or the answer in. So Marissa's first one is LinkedIn. We got a couple Indeeds. Yeah, Indeeds it's probably the biggest one. Yeah, some more Indeeds. Craigslist. Glassdoor. We're going to get into Glassdoor later. Yeah, company websites, absolutely. Okay, see if we got any more coming in right now too. But I think that might be, I think we might have heard from just about everybody. I'll give it a little bit. Those are all good answers. Indeed is the most popular one, both in the responses and with what's out there. I think Indeed is really good because they are very streamlined. They've got the information there, and they are pretty bare bones. So you don't have to worry about ads or much else. LinkedIn is another one we're specifically going to get into, and Glassdoor as well. So I'm just going to go right in the next few slides because those are the ones we'll be looking at. So here we go. Right before we pick a specific one is, before you apply, check out these websites. The Better Business Bureau is a really good website to check out. If you haven't heard of it, it's a website that is accredited, and it will rate companies to see not just on the services they provide, but sometimes in the comments it's how employees treated the customers, some of the ratings that they have. You can see a little diagram down here where it's got an A+ next to Gearhead's Garage, and then if you click on it, it'll give you some more information about that company. Career One Stop is another one. It's a free website that you don't have to sign up with. You can create a program or a profile if you need to, but it is a website that you have access to a lot of different things without even having to make yet another login to another website. Company websites, again, Glassdoor. Google, surprisingly, is a great place to go to first for jobs. LinkedIn, and then just basic networking. So here are the first ones we're going to go over: Career One Stop, Illinois Job Link, Indeed, LinkedIn, and Monster. So we're going to look at Career One Stop first because I think this is a really good website to start from. Feel free to check it out. Their webpage looks a little different than this slide right now, but it's basically the same. You'll see right at the top you can explore careers. There's options to check out your local jobs or break it down by industry level. There's training on their website. You can do an actual just job search and in a local help, the toolkit, and then there's resources for all kinds of different careers. So if you click on those resources page, you're going to see something that looks like what I have here on the slide. It's going to give you some options. If you're coming out of the military and need to apply, it's going to give you some benefit or some resources for that. Laid off worker, worker with a criminal conviction, workers with disabilities, young adult, entry level, any area you're coming through with a career switch, this is going to be the place to go because they're going to give you lots of resources. Here's their little breakdown here. They are sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor. They define themselves as a tool to help job seekers, students, businesses, and career professionals. They have career options and descriptions. So if you're thinking about switching careers entirely, this is a really good place to check out a local salary range, the descriptions of jobs in that field that you might find posted on websites, and it will also link you to training and certificates that you might need for that career. It includes job search and filters to part-time, full-time, local, local access, or like where you might be located at, salary levels, all kinds of things. And then, like I said, it points out a local career help too. They also have instructional videos based on just basic career help, but also keeping your job, and also specific job related training. And like I said, they've got that career field breakdowns and salary expectations. Another one is a local one for Illinois Job Link. So this is probably where you're going to head if you've filled out that IDES application. They're great because they're local. They've got online and I think, Jordan, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if their office is currently open with the pandemic going on in a physical sense.
I don't think it's open like it was to the public.
Okay.
I think they might be taking appointments, but
that's what I thought too. Okay. Okay.
But I think they're encouraging most people to do everything online anyway.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Like most places are. So yeah, feel free to go to their website. You can still create a profile there to get more information on job seeking. They've got lots of resources too, including resume templates, all kinds of practice and training stuff, and really great resources there as well. So a little bit of more detailed information about Illinois Job Link. They're managed by the Illinois Department of Employment Security, which is that IDES application. It offers local job listings that are vetted. Create an account and resume directly from their website. And normally they have that access to in-person assistance. Right now that's kind of discouraged, and it is required to go through them for the unemployment insurance benefits. So they also have job seeker and resume guide resources, and you can create multiple resumes through their profile there for different positions and skill sets. So that's kind of like what I do, where I have that master resume and then I pull and pick for what applies to the jobs I'm looking for. And so I can kind of tailor, if I'm searching for a job, for my resume to that job. They also offer interview assistance. I don't know if they have virtual setup right now for that, but definitely look into it. And they also have adult education workshops offered locally, which I think is also on hold because of the pandemic right now. But they still got a lot of great resources online that you don't have to go in for. So the next one we're going to talk about is Indeed, which it seems like most of you guys are familiar with. Like I said, I think it's a really great one because it's very bare bones, and you can sign in and create an account and put your resume on there. And a lot of the jobs that you'll find on there, you can just click to apply and it'll automatically submit your resume, which is really easy. There's also a lot of different ways to search for jobs. You can search for titles or keywords or a specific company. You can search based on only location. You can search for work from home or salary ranges. You can search for all kinds of things, and it's just very simple. And they've also got company reviews and salary clarification. So Indeed is really like a great basic place to go for job searching online. They've got that simple design. Like I said, you can create that account. They've got articles to help you. That's one of the things that they've got going on right now because of the pandemic. So Indeed might be your first stop to job searching. And they're also got a lot of tutorials and articles to walk you through a lot of the things we're talking about tonight, but more in detail. They also give you job alerts. I have heard from some participants that sometimes they send out too many job alerts. You can go into your settings and tick some of those boxes so that you're not getting so many emails from them, because sometimes it can be a little overwhelming and they don't always apply. But you are able to tailor those to your preferences, and then you're only getting the ones you're actually interested in. Next one is LinkedIn. Like I said, this is a great opportunity to use LinkedIn because the library offers LinkedIn Learning, which is kind of like webinars on demand. They have really great ones about doing a resume, specific ones on keeping your job. They've got also a great series right now on like managing stress while working from home. So that's a good one. You can create your profile. It's kind of like I said, like an online professional Facebook. So you can have your resume there as well, what sends out directly from it. And there's also hiring and job searching directly through LinkedIn. So you can submit your resume directly from them. That you can also get in contact with recruiters from companies. Another thing that's cool about LinkedIn is as it's kind of like Facebook, different companies have their own profiles too. So you have your profile and you can go check out companies to see how they are on LinkedIn and see the kinds of things that they're putting out there. You can check out their comment sections. You can kind of get a feel for the workplace without actually having to go there by checking out the company profile on LinkedIn. So it's a really good resource too. Like I said, resume creation and download options. So you can create your resume on LinkedIn and download it in a physical format, which is really great. Recruiters from a lot of large companies are present on there. I know several people who have been reached out and offered jobs directly through LinkedIn. It gives you the chance to scout out other companies, but LinkedIn is also great right now because one of the big ways that people fall into looking for jobs is networking, and that feels kind of cut off right now because we can't really network in person. LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to network digitally. So one of the things I've used LinkedIn for is doing a lot of these training things to help me be a better employee. And they have comment sections under them where a lot of times you can ask questions directly to the presenter of the LinkedIn videos, and you can reply and comment back and forth with the other people who have watched the video. And that's throughout the time. So the videos aren't live, they're pre-recorded, but those comment sections are constantly going and changing, and there's lots of things you can learn from them, lots of connections you can make across different industries. And it's a really great way to network with people without having to go to those physical spaces like we can't do right now. So there's also a profile option, so you can control the content settings on your LinkedIn depending on how you want people to see your profile or not. You can change it so that it knows that you're looking for a job, so that way people know they can approach you for one. You can also remove that option, so it says, I'm not looking for a job right now. And it's also a great way to check out what some of the other people in your industries across the nation are doing. So I can keep in touch with career services librarians in libraries across the country without having to call them up or check out their websites individually. Okay, we got a question here. Is LinkedIn mainly for professional jobs? Yes and no. I think different industries use it different ways. The library world is kind of just getting into really using LinkedIn in a professional capacity, but I have connections with people on LinkedIn in lots of different industries, not just libraries in the professional world. It does tend to be geared towards white collar work, so I will preface it with that, but you can find all kinds of job industries represented on LinkedIn. So it's not just professional jobs.
And even with the professional jobs, I should add, it's even limited to which recruiter or whoever on LinkedIn is willing to post that. So I think that's why it's also important to explore all your options when it comes to some of these platforms.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another thing too is I'm going through all of these websites, and I don't want you to get the impression that you have to be on all these websites. I actually wouldn't recommend it. As I mentioned earlier, when I was at a point in my life where I was searching for just any job I could find to pay my bills, that's one mistake I did, was I literally applied to jobs on all of these websites, and that was a mess. I don't recommend that. I do recommend checking out a couple, pick the ones that you think fit you best for what you're looking for. There are some that are geared more towards specific industries more than others. And the only way you can figure that out is just kind of check out the website itself, and don't even bother making an account until you've checked out the website, because most of these are all pretty open access. You don't have to have an account just to check out what they're doing and what jobs are posted on them. It would definitely be overwhelming to apply or make a profile on all of these. And if LinkedIn's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's okay. Monster's another really big one. It used to be kind of the name in job hunting when online job hunting became a thing, and it's not so up with it anymore, but it's very similar to Indeed. So we're going to go into Monster a little bit. It's, like I said, it's very similar to Indeed. You can upload and submit resumes directly onto the site, which is really helpful because you have less of that back and forth between different companies. It also gives you the option to hide your profile if you're currently employed, which I think is a really great tool. LinkedIn has that option too, so you can apply to jobs without making it known that you're looking. if that's something you're concerned about. And it also has a variety of ways to filter. So based on salary, location, job type, and more. So the next thing, once you've chosen your website and the platform you're going to go to search for your jobs, another thing to look for is how to prepare your profile. So the first kind of things to look at are your resume, obviously. And these all kind of feed into each other. Another one is your summary pitch. That one kind of might be more geared towards in-person networking, but you never know if you're online in a comment section or something when you can just throw out what you've done in your life professionally and just kind of sum that up nice. And sometimes people refer to them as elevator pitches. Just, you know, hammer that out and get it so you can just roll it off the tip of your tongue when you're stuck in the elevator with someone is what it was originally for, but it's great for a comment section too. So make sure you nail down your locations and settings on your profile. Like I said, a lot of them have a lot of different features in your settings, and you don't want to advertise things if that's not something you want to be out there or not. And then social media. So you might be searching for jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed, but you want to make sure your social media profiles look good too. So go through your settings on your personal Instagram pages and your Facebooks too, because people will be looking at those. So here's a few little search tips using Google for job searching, which I'm going to go into a little bit more on how Google job searching works, because I can do kind of like a little quick live demo, and I think it's great. A lot of people, when they're searching for jobs, are concerned about how to phrase things, and there's no real good hardline way to tell you how to phrase your search for your job. If you're just going to go to Google, I'd recommend just trying a variety of things. And then checking job search site tutorials. Like I said, both those websites, Indeed, Monster, and LinkedIn all kind of have tutorial pages where you can kind of get a little video of how to use their site before you jump right into using their site, which is really helpful. Let's see, I'm gonna switch my screen view here so that I can show you how a simple Google search works. I think that's kind of the most helpful thing right now in terms of searching, because Google lets you change a lot of things. Oh, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I was talking to Jordan earlier and Google wasn't working on my computer for some reason, which unfortunately is something I should have really investigated before I said I was going to do that. I apologize. Let me see if I can get it to open up this way. I apologize. It's not going to open. So I'll go back to my presentation. I highly recommend you check out Google to search for jobs. It's really cool because they've got some great easy ways to filter. If you just go to the Google search bar and type in jobs near me, you're going to get a drop down menu of what types of job you're interested in, salary ranges, and locations, which is easier than even having to sign up for Indeed or Monster or LinkedIn if you're not familiar with any of those websites. So I apologize for that, but definitely feel free to check out Google on your own. Or if you want to send me an email and I can walk you through it through a one-on-one Zoom call, I will do that.
You summed it up pretty well. I wanted to add that we'll also talk about it in our tech tips for your job search next month as well. So
great, good, that's excellent. Thanks. Okay, so let me throw out another question then. Let's see. I think the next thing I'm going to go into, so prepare your chat again, is what are your tips for staying motivated during the job hunt? I've got some of my own, but I want to see if you guys have any too. Oh, we'll get back to that in a second, sorry. Okay, talking to people who recently got a job, asking them what worked for them. Yes, definitely. I think as we all know, searching for jobs is a constantly moving machine that relies on a lot of different things, even in an age where we're primarily doing things online. So it is definitely great to talk to people who are currently job searching as well. Getting the job, yes, definitely. Definitely the biggest motivator right there is getting that job. Okay, another is opportunities for interview. Even if I didn't get the job, it's great practice. Yes, that is an excellent mindset to have. There are several jobs I've interviewed for in my past where I had a feeling I wasn't going to go with them anyway, but I still went to that interview because it's a good practice thing to do. It makes you comfortable interviewing with jobs that you do care for, and it gives you that practice. It helps you get those answers so that they just roll off your tongue instead of feeling concerned about how they're coming off or how you're answering it. And so having those low stake interviews are always good to have. But even if it was something you really wanted to get and you didn't end up getting it, it is good practice. And some jobs give you the opportunity when you get that rejection letter to give them a response. Some don't, and that's something to be aware of. Not every job gives you that feedback choice, but some of them do, and I highly recommend hitting them up for that if they do, because I've done that myself where they've said, unfortunately there were better candidates, but we'd like to hear from you if you had any questions. And I was like, absolutely, I've got some questions. What could I do better next time? And they gave me some really good feedback. So I definitely recommend doing that and taking that as a lesson learned to add more skills to what you could bring to another company in the future. Okay, haven't gotten more suggestions, but if you've got them, keep throwing them out. I'm going to keep an eye on it. These are some of the ones that I have myself when I was in that really tough situation. One of the things that helped me the most was keeping a schedule. So I still got up in the morning, still made sure I took my shower and had some coffee, and I had, a checkoff list once I got it under control. Like, okay, I'm going to apply to 2 jobs today, and I'm going to make that my goal. And once I've applied to them, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to go do some other things. And those other things can be some of the things that keep you sane, but also keep you looking for jobs too. One of the best things I recommend to people when they're looking for jobs and they can't find one is to continue to volunteer if you can. And it's not as easy, as things are not always open in a physical capacity right now, but it never hurts to send an email to a company that you really like, asking if there's anything you can do to volunteer for them, because there's some definite busy work stuff that needs to be done that could be done from home. And if you're willing to volunteer and they need that done, they might take you up on that, and now you've got your foot in the door when there is an opportunity that comes along for you to be hired there. Another thing is to look at your goal list, like I mentioned at the beginning. Make out your dream job list. What salary do you want? What position do you want? What skills do you need to get that job? Focusing on those goals and those actionable items are going to help keep you sane while you're searching for a job. Another thing to keep in mind besides volunteer work is classes. So we're doing lots of webinars here, and I know other places are too, and those are great things to sign up for besides your job search, not just from the standpoint of connecting to other people, but it builds if you sign up for a Crafty Adults, which we do here, that's going to give you some skills that you might use in a job one day. You never know. So it keeps you that connection to other people that is hard to have when you're stuck at home and unemployed, because that can be sometimes the hardest part, is not knowing people and not being able to get out of the home. Another thing is taking breaks and staying healthy. So it's really easy to get burned out when you're searching for a job, and it's just as important to take care of yourself if you can, when you're looking. So it's good to still exercise if you have that option. It's good to still, make a scheduled plan throughout your day and focus on reading and make time for relaxation. It isn't healthy to be searching for a job for 8 hours a day. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Don't expect to put the same amount of time job searching as you would at an actual job. It's not realistic and it's just going to burn you out. See if we've got any other suggestions for that one. Nope, haven't gotten any extra comments. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. Somebody earlier suggested Craigslist as a place for looking for jobs, and I'm not going to dissuade you from using Craigslist. Craigslist definitely has some great job opportunities on there as well, but it is something to look out for because I myself have run into some illegitimate job offers through Craigslist. And there are also illegitimate job offers through Indeed and through Facebook, and there's legitimate ones too. So the next thing I wanted to get into was exactly that, how to recognize a legitimate job offer when you get to that position. So the next thing to look for that is fees or upfront payment. Are they asking you to give your credit card information? Are they asking for your social before you've even interviewed? Those are red flags right there. If they give you position promises before you've even interviewed, that's another red flag. You might get a job description, but be aware of that position promise before you are even interviewed. Another thing is to look out for is that unwilling to put the job description in writing. So maybe you've applied for that job and you've been given the interview, but you haven't gotten your actual job position in writing. That's something to look out for. Definitely don't feel like you shouldn't ask for that. They can easily email it to you during these times. They could send it in the mail, but you should get a detailed job description with a salary or hourly wage before you walk in that door on that first day. Another thing is, like I said, the Better Business Bureau, definitely check that out. That covers, little mom and pop shops all the way up to Amazon. So check out the Better Business Bureau if you're concerned about a company. And then pyramid marketing schemes, those are all around, especially right now, because their big thing is you can do this from your own living room. And some jobs you can do from your own living room. My husband's been working from home for the past 3 years, and that's a great legitimate job. But when they're asking you to get X number of friends in your living room to sell them products with very little turnaround, or it's all commission based, that's very rarely going to work out the way you think it is. So be aware of those job opportunities. And if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So never fail to research it. And if you're researching it and you're not coming up with the right answers, but it is still something that you want to look into and you're not sure how to do it, ask us. We get calls all the time. Like, could you look into this phone number? Could you check this message I got that tells me this because it didn't sound right? We'll look into that for you at the library. Let's go into the next one. Yeah, okay. So what to look for after applying. Like I mentioned, volunteering, always continue to volunteer, create time frames. So if you can't create that time frame to get that interview, that's not realistic to expect because that's on the other person to offer you. But you can create a time frame for, like, I'm going to apply to this number of jobs this week. Or, I'm going to get this done this morning and then this afternoon I'm going to go for a run. Those kinds of timeframes can help you. Network, like I said, it's great to do in-person stuff and networking if you can. And if you can't, check out LinkedIn comments, check in, activities we have can network and lead to job opportunities too. Research, so just research and learn. If there's a job field you're interested in that you don't know a lot about, check it out. We've got books on it. We've got resources on it. You can learn about that job while you're trying to get it as well. And another note about networking too is a lot of people do happen to have the mindset that I used to at least have the mindset that to network properly, I needed to go to big conventions and parties and like suck up to the boss. And that isn't necessarily what you have to do for networking. For the longest time, I never did because I thought that's what it was, and that sounded really bad to me. So just remember, networking can be with your peers too. Just talking to other people who are in a similar field at your level is a great way to network as well. And sometimes better, because they're going to remember you and keep you in mind, if a position does open up. So the next thing to do is what to expect when you're job searching. So remember, there is no set path. It is really the idea to have, this is when I'm going to apply. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to have that job or interview, and then I'm going to be offered the job, or I won't, and we'll go from there. And there's not a clear timeline with that. There have been job interviews that I thought I absolutely aced, and then I didn't ever get a call back or an email. There have been job interviews where I thought I totally was not going to get that offer, and then surprisingly, 2 months later, they called me back because their original applicant wasn't able to commit, and I got the job. Another thing to expect or keep in mind is skills, experience versus education. So the next question I'm going to ask, so get your chat fingers ready, is do you have or should you apply to a job if you don't meet all the requirements? Whoops, went through the slide again. So we're getting a couple answers in. Still apply. Yes, if you meet most. I'll see if we've got a couple other people waiting to answer, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on it. Yes, yeah. The answer is yes, definitely still apply. And that could be for a variety of things. Maybe you don't have the experience. A joke in my age range is that a job application is asking for 5 years of experience in an entry-level position. I think most all of us at this point have seen that on jobs, and that's very unrealistic. In fact, it doesn't really exist. How can you have 5 years of experience in an entry-level position? It's not an option. So still apply. And then the other one you might see is, oh, that requires me to have a master's degree. I can't apply to that because I don't have it. You know what? If you have the experience, but you don't have the master's degree, apply anyway. And I am a living example of that. If you've got the experience, maybe they might not care. So you should absolutely go ahead and apply. And in fact, they might help you get that master's degree if they think you're a worthy candidate without it. So definitely apply. Whatever the exception is, apply, because the worst thing they're going to say is no, and you're still exactly where you started from in your job search application process. So always apply. Soft skills are necessary. That's another thing you can brush up through some of the things we have. Maybe you're not so great at interviewing, like I said. Maybe your communication skills aren't great. Whatever it is, you can brush up on it, and we'll help you with that with some of our tools. There's lots of classes and books you can check out or attend. And it's great to kind of work on those skills while you're waiting to hear back, so you can be prepared for that interview. The next one is have a flexible plan. So remember, you might have your calendar dates, apply to this job then this, and have those dates. Maybe you have it marked in your calendar to check back in with a job that you applied to at this certain time, and definitely do that. But it might take a little bit for you to hear back from them, especially right now, because everyone's kind of just going with what they can in the moment, and things are very unusual right now. So you might not get that timely response like you think you would, but they might still be interested in you. Rejection is part of it. That's another thing we talked about earlier. Maybe you didn't get that job after the interview, but you got the experience, and focus on that. Remember that you can learn from every single experience you have. And sometimes the lesson to learn is you don't have control over it, and that's a hard one to accept. I've been there myself, but that's still a good lesson to learn. So try to have that positive attitude about what you did learn. Let's go to the next one. I know we're coming up on time here, so I think we're doing okay though. So in the meantime, while you're waiting, make sure your resume is ready. It's always good to look over it before you send it off, even if you've just looked it over a couple of days ago. Check your cloud or email storage. I mentioned Google. Google is great not just for searching for jobs, but also for your templates. My resume actually lives on my desktop, but it also lives in my Google Drive. If you're not familiar with Google Drive, if you have a Gmail account, you'll see like in the upper hand corner, I think like where my finger is where that might be on your browser, or the opposite corner depending on how I mirrored. But check that upper corner by your icon. You're going to see 9 dots, and if you click on it, you'll see a Google Drive. If you open that, it's going to store every document you ever sent anywhere, but you can also create new documents in it, including resumes. They have those templates, they have the cover letters, and you can create them right there in the drive. And it's great because anywhere you can log into your email, you can pull up your resume. So I definitely recommend the cloud storage for that. Check overall opportunities just for any chance to add something to your resume. Application tracking, I'm going to go ahead and break out to my job hunter list so that I can show you that. So this is what my job hunting list looks like. Can you see it? I think it is highlighted now.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, so this is my personal job hunting list, but I've adapted it and we have it on hand at the library if you want it. So it's just a simple list of all the jobs you might be interested in. So create that spot for that job title, the employer, the company, the contact information and web address. Know for yourself why you're a good fit to it, because if you're applying to a lot of jobs, it might be hard to keep that straight, and that'll be a really good way to make that reference or that connection in your brain without having to actually look back at your application again. And then keep a track of the date you applied. You might even want to add an extra column for like when you checked back into them right now. So that's a really great thing to just keep updated, maybe glance over every day you're trying to apply for a job when you are looking for one. And let me go back to my screen here. Okay. And then, as I said, volunteer is kind of tricky right now, but always shoot an email to a company if you want to work for them and see if they've got volunteer opportunities. It's a great way to get your foot in the door, and it keeps you active in doing something that is going to fulfill your needs while you're waiting to hear back. It helps those connections and networking, and it can lead to paid work. One of the first jobs I got as a teenager was volunteering for a little animal shelter, and they really liked what I was doing as a volunteer, and so they offered me a position as a dog walker, and that was like some of the first money I ever made, but it made my day, and that works on a larger scale too. So that concludes the program. It goes over everything. I'm going to bring back my chat option so I can go back through and see if I answered the original things that you guys were interested in. So to gather information on how to apply to jobs, I think we went over that. How to get the interview, kind of. It's really a matter of making that resume stick out, like I said. Definitely recommend some of those templates because they can look real sharp without being too hard to read. And it'll make you stand out. Information on researching how to apply to jobs. Yep. Standing out from other applicants. Okay, so feel free at this time, we've still got a few minutes left to send me any other questions. Let's see, SB has one. While searching for a job, I highly recommend using LinkedIn Learning. Yes, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn Learning too. It's great because they have anything you could want to find out about. They're going to have a LinkedIn video for it. And you'll have that comment section with other people who's watched it, including the presenter. And a lot of those presenters will respond back to you immediately or within a day or two on those comments. I've interacted with some of them myself. Job Jenny is one of my favorites. So definitely check out Job Jenny, and she comments and interacts with people too. So yeah, definitely recommend LinkedIn. If you're not sure how to connect to LinkedIn, let us know. That could easily be a book librarian, and either Jordan and I will be happy to help you out with that. Let's see, do we have any other questions? Okay. SV says, I'm planning to apply for a job every day I think of doing, but then the day ends. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you, I want to make sure I'm understanding. Oh, that you see that you did not apply for any job. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So is it like you're getting anxious about applying it or procrastination? Absolutely, yeah. Yep. I'm going to tell you a personal tidbit about me. I'm a little obsessed with planners, and it came from my problem with procrastination. So I use a Passion Planner, which is a specific kind of planner that breaks down hourly days, but it also has a weekly goal section and a monthly goal section. And one of the things that helped me overcome my procrastination is I would take a pin and I would write in a little box with a tick mark to put in to say apply to this job or apply to one job, just any job, and then I would check mark it. And if I didn't check mark it, I had to X through it, and kind of the guilt that was associated with having to see that I didn't do that was what helped me make sure I actually applied to those jobs. So I highly recommend Passion Planner. But any planner can help you for that. You could get any planner and just make a pin mark goal, apply to one job, and just do that for your goal. Set easy goals that you know you can achieve, and that's going to help you break down those procrastination feelings to lead to actually doing more than you expected you were going to do. You're welcome. I hope that tip helps. It really changed my life. And yep, as you can see, if you want to practice virtual interviews, sign up through the Book a Librarian thing. You can always email us. Jordan has got the Librarian email up there. You can send an email there to sign up for it, or I'm going to repeat my email again. It's C Purcell, C as in cat, Purcell at champaign.org. You can always send me an email, and I'll do what I can to work in a virtual email. Usually Jordan and I tag team them, so it feels kind of like a panel, and you get that practice, and we both have our different experiences, so we might have slightly different tips to go from that can help you out.
Sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth here. Well, thank you, Kat. If you guys have any more questions, please put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and you can talk. Here's my contact information, and Kat has also shared her email address. Like she said, we both help people out with career services here at the library. And first off, I don't know if I said thank you, Kat. That was great. Thank you. But here's my contact information. Again, Kat C. Purcell at champaign.org. We hope that you consider attending more webinars. Our next webinar will be on Tuesday, October 27th at 7 p.m. We'll be hosting Janice All. She'll be talking about emotional intelligence skills in your job search, which is very important these days, especially, I mean, considering, like Kat was saying, the job market. I mean, a lot of people are looking and searching and applying for jobs. So I've listed the rest of the October workshops here. We also have the November workshops, and we have a lot more workshops, not just for career. We have workshops related to business, technology. If you want to have some fun, we have our Crafty Adult series and our Writers Workshops. Kat also helps with our Crafty Adults series. So yeah, if you have more information, you can visit champaign.org/events and take a look at our events calendar online for more information. And then I had this slide here again. General questions, you can email librarian@champaign.org. Even if you forgot our email addresses, this will find us. If you're interested in those Book a Librarian sessions where we can help you with resumes, practice interviews, and even for an introductory discussion. We don't have to jump right into the details. We sometimes just like to have a conversation for that first hour. So here in the library, we do have to limit our in-person visits to 10 minutes. So we have been meeting with people through Zoom, and that's been working out well for me and Kat. So we just send you a link through your email. And we could just have a discussion and as many sessions as you want to help you get that job. So, all right. Anybody have any other questions here?
I think
my video back on.
Well, thank you guys for attending. Yeah.
All right. If we don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and end the webinar. I hope everyone has a great night. All right. Thank you, everyone.